Today, I'm going to 100% Dave the Diver, a game where you're a simple diver who goes and explores the deep blue in order to supply your small sushi restaurant. But that's not it. You see, there's mermaids, giant evil fish that want to kill me, seahorse racing, farming, feet, and even a man who really likes his anime body pillow. This game has just about everything, and I'm going to complete it all. In order to do this though, I need to complete all of the achievements on Steam for this game. So, without further ado, here's how I 100%ed Dave the Diver. It all started with the feet that were mentioned about 10 seconds ago. See, here I was, peacefully laying on the beach, enjoying a nice vacation, when I had to stop this crab from pinching something that it shouldn't be. I peacefully laid it on the ground, and then the worst thing happened. I got a phone call. It was from a man named Cobra. All he did was mention sushi, and I was ready to go. I got there, ready for sushi, but it turns out I was lied to. Not really though, I had to get the sushi for myself. I did this by launching my harpoon at small, helpless fish. Or at least trying to. Damn. Gotcha. I returned to the boat with my 3 fish I was tasked with catching and was told to go and meet Bancho at the sushi bar. Bancho was giving me a speech about his borderline creepy obsession for sushi when we got hit by an earthquake.
No, not the restaurant.
In order to repair the restaurant, I had to go out and catch fish to make some money. I went around catching some small fish when I ran into some lionfish. I tried catching them when I came across one of the catching mini games in this game. I caught the 7 fish I needed and returned to the boat where Cobra was waiting. He told me to go back to the sushi bar for our grand opening. I prepared a menu for the night using the fish I caught and then was taught how to pour green tea.
I'm just that good, I'm sorry. Like, don't even test me, dude.
Then I prepared a test meal for Cobra, but just when I was going to give it to him, he got up and left. Sadly, I had to throw away the food. Then we opened the restaurant. I poured some drinks while Bancho cooked up the sushi. Then I took the food and ran it to the people that wanted it. The first night wasn't so hard, but I could see how if this place gets full, Dave's little legs might not be able to keep up. We sold almost everything on the menu and made a total of $58 for the day.
Let's go.
Before moving on to the next day, I got to see this small ship get dragged to the depths of the ocean by the Kraken.
Yeah, they're dead. Hate to break it to you, they didn't make it. I'm sorry. You know, you know what? I will go and pick up the packages.
In the morning, I got a call from a student named Ellie. How she got my number, I have no idea. She tasked me with getting some things to help with her research, and I got access to my phone.
Whoa.
I then dove in to catch my supply for the night. I ran into a pufferfish and tried to catch it. It took too long to kill, so I gave up and continued on my dive. I found an escape pod that would help me if I ever needed to get out of here quickly. Turns out, I would need it a lot sooner than later. When I got back up, I met a man named Duff, who would make me some guns. Luckily, his anime just ended, so he had the time to help me. I needed to get some resources for him, so I dove right in to try and get them. After I got back, I went to the restaurant to start my second night. I fed everyone, and in the morning, a man named Dr. Bacon approached me. He explained a tale to me about the sea people. I, however, did not care. I saw beluga whales and manatees and needed them.
Then a beluga whale. A manatee.
I agreed to help him with his investigation on these people, and he offered to upgrade my suit for free once. I went diving, then when I came back up, I was robbed of the second half of my day. I got back to the restaurant, and everything was fixed.
We're fixed up, let's go.
I was then introduced to the Cooksta app, where I could level up the restaurant. Then I was shown how to decorate the interior. I then had a pretty uneventful dive besides the squeaky toy hammer that I got, and when I got back up, Duff was waiting for me and he made me a gun.
Shoot fish. Animation? Oh my god, what's that?
After seeing that amazing cutscene, I went back to the restaurant where Yoshi showed up, and I was tasked with getting a shark head to make a special dish for her. I researched the dish and saw this cutscene.
What is this game, dude?
Then when I was getting ready for my afternoon dive the next day, I got introduced to Sato, who looks a lot like someone else for some reason. He told me about Marinka, which is an app that I could see all of the fish in the game that I have found and have yet to find. Then, in my next dive, I got the shark that I needed. When I got back, I had Bancho make the dish, and I think she liked it. She liked it so much that she gave me the ability to hire staff members to help me out. Then on my next dive, I died for the first time. That night, I had my first applicants come in. I hired Kyoko to help me serve, and I had a record-breaking night in sales. When I dove in the next day, I was met with a dolphin. I followed it until we came to a small pink dolphin that was trapped under a net. I freed it, and they swam away. That night, I enhanced some dishes before opening, and we made $133 in profit. Then I leveled up the restaurant through the Cooksta app. The judges approved, and I went out for another dive. As I was going down, I came across the Sea People artifact that Dr. Bacon told me to find to lead us to the Sea People, but right after, this happened. Before leaving, after seeing that, I killed a saw shark. Then I got to an escape pod as quickly as possible. In the morning, Dr. Bacon came by and gave me a radar to test out. I went to do just that, but right when I dove in, I came across the dolphin again. I saved it from pirates, and it dropped a large gold bar for me.
Where did the dolphins get a large gold bar?
I was following the radar signal when I started to get a bit low on oxygen.
Stop it. No! Oh no.
On my next attempt, I got down there with no problems. Then I died again. My next dive was very successful. I killed a bunch of fish that were going to make a decent amount of money until I drowned.
No! I had so much stuff.
The next few days were pretty uneventful. All I really did was dive and catch fish, until eventually I got some more applicants. I hired Pi as a chef to help Bancho out.
Hire you, man.
On my next dive, I just caught a bunch of fish until I came across this one fish that just wouldn't die.
If you could get caught, that'd be pretty cool, because I'm running out of oxygen kind of rapidly.
The next day, Cobra told me about a jellyfish event that was happening in 3 days. I kept my eye out for jellyfish on my next couple of dives. A few days later, Dr. Bacon came back. I got some bombs to free the Sea People, and he gave me a camera to document any cool things I saw on my adventures. I made my way back to the rock pile and blew it up. When I got in, it looked like some ancient room with a bunch of writing everywhere and a giant mural. I examined everything and at the end found an artifact. After hearing Sea People talking, but not seeing anyone, I ran, or swam, as fast as I could back to the ship. I gave Dr. Bacon the artifact when a group called Sea Blue came to speak their minds. He gave me a quick warning and left. That night, a man named Vincent the Gourmet showed up. Apparently, he was a sushi expert, and we were now on a cooking show. In order to impress him, I needed to get some jellyfish and sea grapes for Bancho, and I had a few days to do so. In the morning, Dr. Bacon came back with the artifact. It helped a bit with breathing underwater, which was cool. However, in order to find out more, I needed to head to the deep sea, which I would need a headlamp for. But I knew just the guy to get me one, Duff. I quickly sped through what he said, but he lost a package in the ocean, and in order to get my headlamp, I needed to find it. When I dove in, I saw this.
No, not the dolphin.
I stopped the pirates, and they swam away in fear. In this dive, I got all of the things I needed for Bancho, and when I got back, it was the jellyfish day, so I prepared most of my meals to be jellyfish themed in hopes to make more money. And make more money I did. We broke our record by making a whopping $809. The next night, it was time for Bancho's competition. He was very impressed with the meal, but in order to make it better, he needed something to drink. So he gave us a fridge to serve beer to our customers. Then I hired another chef to help out a bit. A few days later, I had to hunt some tuna for another event. Cobra gave me a mine that explodes into a net to catch fish, and an underwater drone to bring the fish up to the surface. It took about 5 seconds to find and catch a tuna, so I just continued with my dive afterwards. I eventually found Duff's package, but it was taken away by the Kraken. He told me to get a gas cutter to cut through the door of the ship, so when I got back to the boat, he gave me one. I then hired another server because I was having a bit of trouble keeping up with all the orders we were getting. In the morning, I had Duff craft me another weapon and got another interesting cutscene.
Let's watch Duff make me a gun. What did I just watch?
I went out with my new gun and cut the door to the ship open. Then I swam in and was met by the giant squid. Was I expecting a boss fight when I got this game that I thought was a simple restaurant simulator? No, but now I'm honestly not surprised. It didn't take long until I was able to kill the squid. It dropped some sea people that ran right away when they saw me. I cut up the squid and brought it back to Bancho. We had a day off where we all got to eat the giant squid without the stress of people ordering food. However, we were being watched. By who, you might ask? None other than John Watson from Sea Blue. In the morning, Dr. Bacon paid me another visit, but it turned out he had too much to drink last night and he left. Then I was in the second chapter of the game. The first person I spoke to in chapter 2 was, well, John Watson. He brought a grenade launcher to try to kill me, but all he ended up killing was some fish. I ended up beating him, and he blew up the ground. I then went down and followed another signal on the tracker that I had. When I got to the deep sea, I had to use a UV light to get rid of these weird worm things that were blocking my path. Down here, there were all kinds of terrifying creatures, and I ended up dying with what would have been my best haul yet. Sato came by to tell me about boss cards I could collect like the squid that I killed. So now, I had to keep my eye out for those too. I then made my way back to the deep sea, but couldn't find exactly where this thing wanted me to go, so I went back through an escape pod. This is when I got a call from Bancho about a strange customer at the bar. Turns out he was also a diver before he took a harpoon to the knee. He wanted me to serve him some moray eel sushi, but those are nocturnal, so now I had the ability to dive during the night and catch some nighttime fish. The next day, I went down at night, and I got his moray eel and caught some new fish. I then got back up and made him his dish, which transported him back to his childhood. In fact, he liked it so much that he opened a fish farm for me. Some of the fish that I caught could go in here and they could breed to make more fish. It's like passive income, but fish. Passive fish, I guess. I went back down and found where the signal wanted me to go this time. The fish people tried talking to me, but I couldn't understand it, so I had to make a translator. I just didn't do this for whatever reason, and for the next 45 minutes I just kept diving and catching fish. I eventually went back to the crashed ship where I killed the squid and accidentally came across the microphone. Then I realized that instead of just trying to make money, I should probably progress through the story, so I went to get the stone tablet. I gave the parts to Dr. Bacon and he left to make the translator. Then I hired a new worker. This man was pretty much good at everything, so I had him replace Pi in helping cook. The next morning, Dr. Bacon had the translator. I went down to talk to the sea people. The one who wasn't dying told me that the other was sick and I had to get some things to make a dish that would make her feel better. I eventually got the stuff to make it, but when I went to tell Bancho about it, there was a child sitting in our restaurant. She was talking through a puppet and asked me to make her something special. Luckily, I had the stuff to make it, so I gave it to her right away.
Yup.
Then I had to catch some things for her with a bug net that she gave me. I don't know what happened to the audio, but I fought another boss.
Boss fight.
Then I gave her the things I caught, and she asked if she could work for me. She was a very good chef, so I added her to the staff. Then I went back out to talk to the sea people. I healed Ramo, and she wanted me to bring her back to the village. So I had to very slowly carry her on my back until I got there. However, when we got there, the entrance was blocked by a bunch of rocks. I had to pull something out to get them to move, but my gloves weren't good enough to do that yet. Dr. Bacon said he could get me better ones and would have more information in the morning. He got me the gloves, and I immediately went down to move the rocks. After I got them to move, we saw this massive fish swim by, and I had to go and fight it, so I swam after it. This fight was really easy, and it took me one try. I cut up the giant eel and went to the gate to the Sea People village. We got through, and I saw the same village that Dr. Bacon showed me earlier. I was taken to the king, who called me a manatee.
Damn.
We explained what happened, and then he gave me a magic mirror that I could use to teleport back here or the boat whenever I was near one. I then went back to the restaurant, where there was no one. However, Yoshi came in and gave me some backstory on Bancho. Having no audio makes this kind of weird, so I'll just explain it. Bancho worked at a fancy hotel before here and was a chef. There was a famous actress coming to stay, and he needed to impress her with his food. Long story short, Bancho wanted to make one thing, but they wouldn't let him, which led to him making the shark head dish we saw before. The actress was not impressed and canceled her reservation and left. This left Bancho distraught, and they weren't sure if he would ever return to cooking. But here we are now. In the morning, Dr. Bacon came by, and I explained everything that happened with the Sea People. He was very jealous, and told me to find out as much as possible about these people. I guess the audio's back now. I don't know what happened. I went back to the village and was tasked with building trust with all of the Sea People. I ran around doing various tasks for the Sea People when I got the privilege of participating in some seahorse race gambling. My seahorse came in third, and I continued on my quest. Eventually I got a whistle that calls a beluga whale for me to ride around, which came in very handy because this place was big and Dave is not that fast of a swimmer. That night, a man named Michael Bang came by looking for some inspiration for his next hit movie. And what better way to do that than to eat food? In the morning, Otto made me a farm that I could grow rice and some crops to make better sushi. Then I was able to finish gaining the Sea People's trust. With that done, I went to meet with the king again. He said he would give me access to the glacial area, but in order to get there, I would need to go and get the key in an abandoned cave. I figured I would do that later and went back to the boat. This is where I met Clara, who explained to me that she lost her husband to a great white shark, and now somehow it was my problem and I had to go and kill it. I came back at night and found the vortex that I could go through to fight the shark. This fight was something. I died. Again and again and again and again and again. Until I eventually got lucky and Clara saved me by punching the shark one
she
time.
Showed up. Oh. Damn! Who are you, lady?
For some reason this night I got to see into Duff's dreams. I got to play this little mini game and participate in a concert that he was dreaming about. This went on for way too long, but I got a new mobile game for it.
A new mobile game. I can't wait to play that.
I never did. Then I was in chapter 4.
Abandoned Cave, chapter 4. Let's go.
I went down to the abandoned cave where I saw this zombie sea person thing. This cave had puzzles and stuff for me to do, which let out the zombies, and I had to sneak past them to get out with the tablet.
He didn't see me, he didn't see me, he didn't see me.
I eventually got out and was met with none other than John Watson once again.
The ocean. Alright, John Watson, let's go. Round 2.
I had to lead his missiles back to him to blow him up. After I did this a few times, he was beaten once more but got away. When I got back, the king explained the zombie people to me. Then I went back to the boat where Ash Ketchum explained that on stormy nights I can fight bosses. It was an achievement that I needed to fight them all, so I went down to do
The
that.
truck did not just move. It's a crab, I guarantee it. 100% the crab is using the truck as a shell. Calling it now. Do I know sea creatures or do I know sea creatures? I'm a genius. Truck hermit crab. Let's go.
I struggled with this fight a bit, but eventually beat it. Dr. Bacon came by to the restaurant and told me that even if it means I died, I should go and explore the glacial area. Then I got to see him go and explore a cave.
Wait, am I controlling? Oh my god, I am Dr. Bacon. There we go.
There was a quick puzzle in here and I got an artifact. I was very worried that Dr. Bacon might die, and, well, when I got out, I was met with pirates. I was then in a boat chase with pirates shooting at me, and I was able to escape after they hit a rock, and I made it back safely. Then I made the dish for Michael Bang, and I think he liked it. He gave us a signed poster and left. Then I went down to go to the glacial area. I got in and started taking pictures of the murals through the glacial passage. I went through here solving the many puzzles that this cave had to offer. Then I was introduced to this giant zombie sea person. I ran away as fast as I could, dodging icicles along the way, when I narrowly escaped his hand thanks to this guy who pulled me away. After that I went back to the boat, and for the next few days I just went fishing and sold food. Eventually I needed to get something, however that something was owned by Sea Blue, which is the company that the one and only John Watson works for. I put on my stealth diving suit and dove in to follow one of their drones back to their base. I got in and very sneakily jumped over boxes and hid from cameras. I eventually made it to the main office where the mechanical parts I needed were. I took them and got cornered by the workers. I dove through the window and barely made it out alive. A couple of days later, I made a dish for another loud customer that we had. This one was an aspiring rapper. He liked the food, like everyone did, and something unexpected happened. Otto walked in, and turns out that this was his son. Sammy decided to go and work with his father on the farm and made his own chicken coop. Then I got a warmer suit to allow me to go into the glacial area without freezing to death. First thing I did when I got there was murder a narwhal, which, by the way, you cannot convince me these things are real. Just look at them. What is that? Anyways, I explored a lot of the area until I eventually died.
I died.
I went in again and took a picture of the stone tablet that had words on it that I could not read. I went back up and analyzed it. Turns out that even Dr. Bacon couldn't understand it. I then went back and brought Suwam with me to read it. He got the door open for me, and I went in.
Oh, he's hitting that.
This cave, like the last, had a bunch of puzzles. The final one I just couldn't figure out. I needed to match the statue with the paintings on the walls, and after like 20 minutes of trying to get this perfect, I did it. This gave me a light on this stone thing by a big door at the bottom of the ocean. Then I had a quest to find a missing beluga whale. This took about 30 seconds of searching, and I found it. It had been poisoned by this octopus, and I chased it down. I was given the option to rescue it or to kill it. I brutally murdered it and went on to heal the beluga whale. The next day, I went back to where I killed the octopus because there was a cave entrance. However, there was a strong current coming from it and I couldn't get through. That's when the beluga came back and let me ride on its back to get through it. We made our way through the cave when we came across this massive jellyfish. All I had to do was dash into its giant eyeball and it was quickly defeated. This brought me to a room with a lever that got me the second big light for the door. This also made it so it wasn't so hot at the bottom of the ocean and I was actually able to swim there. I explored the area a bit before going to the next and final cave. This cave was a two-person job. I controlled both Dave and Suwam and we went through solving the puzzles together. We eventually made it to the end and I had to fight off a giant prehistoric shark. I killed it and then we hit the third and final lever. This opened the massive door a bit, but before I could investigate further, someone came to pay a visit. John Watson. This time he was using a submarine, which was a bit unfair, and I couldn't really figure out how to hit him. But, it didn't matter. John Watson was finally dead, but now I have to fight a dinosaur.
Okay.
I beat it by picking up the gun from John Watson's submarine. After it was dead, a small drone came down and it was Dr. Bacon. The drone had lasers that he was going to use to cut through the branches that were blocking the door. While I was waiting for that to be done, I just explored a bit. I came across an oarfish and grew some stuff in my farm. And then Boncho had a cooking competition, but this time I was in control of Boncho. I chopped up a carrot at light speed and then cut up an onion. And then cut a fish and fried it all together. Then the dishes were presented to the judge. Boncho won with 99 points. Then I went back down to the glacial zone. As I was swimming down, I saw this.
Is that Thor's hammer?
It sure was Thor's hammer, and I didn't know it at the time, but that was really rare, and I needed it for one of the hidden Steam achievements, so yes, I hate myself for just swimming away. But anyway, the drone was done, and I made my way into the control room. This place, like all the rest, had some puzzles that I needed to do. I eventually came to a room where I needed to use the laser to cut through a door, but while I was waiting, I was being attacked by these small bugs. I killed them and moved the laser up to melt the door. Then more bugs spawned in, but I was able to use the laser to kill them. I was still waiting for the door and they just kept spawning. I died once and had to start all over again, but this time it was significantly easier and I got through the door. I had to get these bugs off of this weird glowing thing, but when I did, their mom wasn't too happy about it. I had no idea how to beat it, but luckily the drone came down and Dr. Bacon had been working with Duff and added weapons to it. This was probably the easiest boss fight I had so far. All I had to do was shoot, really. Then I had to run, but we came to a dead end. I got hit with some quick time events, and to my surprise, the sea people came to help me. They lifted this cannon so I could shine a laser at it while it was stuck. And just like that, the sea people were saved, and I was now basically one of them. And, well, I guess I also beat the game. I went back to the restaurant where we had a meeting with all the people that I had met on my journey. I talked to them all and got this one final cutscene.
What?
After seeing Dave's feet once more, I got to the credits where I got to shoot all of the developers' names. You didn't think that was it, did you? No. You see, I beat the game, but I didn't 100% the game. In fact, everything you're going to get to see from this point on took me another 20 hours of playtime, and that just about made me lose my sanity. At this point, I had only 23 of the 43 achievements, and I still had a lot to do, like kill a fish with Thor's hammer, which I could have done before, but didn't, level up an employee to level 20, achieve the diamond rank on Cooksta, get a sprinkler for the farm, enhance a gun 3 times, feed a cat 20 times, and many, many more. Most of the achievements I needed required a lot of money, so for the next few hours I kept going to the glacial area and running the same exact route over and over and over again to get the meat from narwhals and Greenland sharks because they sold for a lot, and if I enhanced the narwhal sushi then I could get the diamond rank pretty easily. And I was hoping to find Thor's hammer again so I could actually get the achievement this time. One of the achievements was to sell 200 things to the underwater blacksmith, so I quickly went and did that. I kept feeding the cat, and eventually this happened. I had to sneakily follow the cat until eventually I came across its family. The 3 cats moved into the restaurant, and I was now in charge of feeding the child. Eventually I went through another vortex and fought this mantis shrimp. I beat it pretty quickly, and this gave me the achievement for fighting all the bosses. And I also got this Tamagotchi app, where I can raise my own small animal, and just my luck, I had to raise 5 of them for an achievement. So I got right to work on that. I eventually had my first one raised, and it was a dolphin.
It's a dolphin.
Then a person came in to challenge Bancho to a cook-off. It was the actress who said she didn't like his cooking before. I eventually opened Mima's restaurant, which was another achievement. Then I went out at night to look for a rare squid for this cook-off. I caught it, and Bancho won the cooking competition, of course. And this Italian man was very angry. The lady couldn't believe it until she too tasted Bancho's cooking. She then offered to make Bancho Sushi a chain restaurant, which is great because that was another achievement that I needed. The chain was a beach bar that I had to assign a manager and staff for. I made Pi the manager and got him some staff. I then moved around my staff and made this cook a server because apparently that's what he's best at. Business was now booming at Bancho Sushi, and I leveled up the restaurant to the diamond rank and was starting to get to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Once again, the audio died, but I had Duff upgrade my gun, so now I only needed to do that one more time. I had the farm fully upgraded, which was an achievement, and then I got a sprinkler, which was another. Eventually I had the stuff to upgrade my gun a final time, and saw Duff's blacksmith skills come into play. A few days later, after getting tired of swimming around the glacial area aimlessly, I decided to try to get the achievement for shooting all of the developers' names in the credits. It took a couple attempts, but I eventually did it. Then I continued swimming around, running the same route through the glacial area that I had been running for the past 10 hours. Just when I thought all hope was lost, I saw something. I finally got Thor's hammer again. I killed a few fish with it and got the achievement, and then died to a narwhal.
It killed me.
I then took one last picture of an animal for Udo, and he told me about the Fishmon, which were rare fish that I needed to catch. But he didn't actually give me the ability to do it, so I would have to wait for that. I then made a special dish for the seaweed farmer, and he really liked it. So much so that he opened up the seaweed farm, which gave me another achievement. Then I got my one staff member to level 20, which got me one step closer to being done with this game.
Let's go.
I then completely stopped selling sushi because I did all the achievements that required money, so there was really no need for it. Then Udo gave me the quest to catch Fishmon. At this point, I had completely lost my mind from doing the same thing over and over and over again for what felt like forever. The first Fishmon was not at all hard to catch. I got it no problem and gave it to Udo. Then I fed the cat for the final time.
And now you will starve forever.
Now all I needed was to catch Fishmon, so I just skipped time until every Saturday, which is when I got these quests. Next one I needed to catch needed a certain type of sniper, which I didn't have, nor did I care to get, so I found a poison one and hoped that it would work. Luckily it did, and now I only needed 3 more. Then I had to catch another that I know for a fact I wasn't supposed to use my harpoon to get, but I did it anyway and it worked. The next one was the steel triggerfish, which needed a lightning gun to do damage to it. Found a lightning harpoon and just couldn't figure out how to make it work. I came back the next day with the lightning harpoon again and it didn't work. Same thing happened the next week when I was assigned the same fish again. Then the next week came around. This time I found a lightning gun, which I was really hoping would work better, and well, it did. The final one was quite literally the easiest thing I've ever had to do. I just had to shoot it a few times and it was out. And with that, the 100% was done, and it brought me to day 121. So I guess this video is about how I 100%ed Dave the Diver in 100 days.